You probably think you know exactly who you are. You have a name, a birthday, a hometown, and a wallet full of plastic cards that prove to the world that you exist. But imagine waking up tomorrow morning in a room you don't recognize, looking in the mirror, and realizing you have absolutely no idea who the person staring back at you is. Even worse, imagine that when you ask the rest of the world for help, the world tells you that you don't exist. There are no records, no birth certificate, and no digital footprint. You are a ghost in a world that documents everything. Most of us take our identity for granted. We complain about filling out forms or showing our ID at the airport, but those things are the anchors that hold us to reality. When those anchors are cut, you aren't just lost, you are erased. Today, we are going to walk through the terrifying journey of a man who found himself in that exact position. This isn't just a story about losing your memory. It is a story about a man who discovered that his entire life was a carefully constructed lie, and that the people who built that lie now want him dead. By the time we get to the end of this, you might find yourself double-checking your own ID just to make sure you're still who you think you are. Imagine the sound of a steady, rhythmic beep. It's the first thing you hear as you drift back into consciousness. Your eyes are heavy, like they've been glued shut, and when you finally crack them open, the light is blinding. It's that sharp, cold, fluorescent light you only find in hospitals. Everything is white, everything is sterile, and everything is unfamiliar. You try to sit up, but your body feels like it's made of lead. A nurse walks in, sees you're awake, and smiles. She asks you a simple question. "How are you feeling, Mr. Doe?" You try to answer, but your throat is dry. More importantly, you realize something that sends a shot of pure ice through your veins. You don't know who Mr. Doe is. You wait for your name to pop into your head. It should be right there, shouldn't it? It's the most basic piece of information you own. But there's nothing, just a vast, echoing silence where your life should be. You realize you don't know how old you are. You don't know if you have a wife, or kids, or a dog waiting for you at home. You don't even know how you got to this hospital bed. This is the void of self. It's a physical weight in your chest. When the doctor comes in, he tells you that you were found collapsed in an alleyway 3 days ago. You had no wallet, no phone, no keys. Even the labels had been cut out of your clothes. You are a blank slate. At first, you think it's just a temporary thing, maybe a concussion. But as the hours turn into days, the panic starts to set in. You look at your hands. They are calloused. You have a long, jagged scar running across your left shoulder that looks like it came from a knife or a piece of shrapnel. You're in incredible physical shape, the kind of shape that requires years of intense training, but you have no idea what you were training for. Then things get even weirder. The police come by to take your fingerprints. They tell you it's just a formality to help identify you so they can call your family. You feel a sense of relief. The system will find you. We live in a world of databases and surveillance. Nobody is truly anonymous anymore. But a few hours later, the officer comes back, and he looks confused. Or maybe he looks scared. He tells you that your fingerprints didn't trigger a single match. Not in the local police database, not with the FBI, not even with the DMV. It's like you were born yesterday at the age of 35. Your DNA is run through every medical and criminal registry available. Nothing. You are a biological anomaly. You exist physically, but on paper, you aren't a person. This is where the fear turns into a survival instinct. While you're sitting there, trying to process the fact that you are a ghost, you notice a man standing in the doorway of your hospital room. He isn't a doctor, and he isn't a cop. He's wearing a cheap suit and has a look of cold, professional boredom on his face. He doesn't say a word. He just reaches into his jacket. Your brain doesn't know who you are, but your body knows exactly what is happening. Before he can even pull his hand out, you've kicked the rolling tray table into his shins and rolled off the bed. You hear the muffled thwack of a silenced pistol hitting the pillow where your head was a second ago. You don't think. You just move. You find yourself moving with a level of speed and precision that shouldn't be possible for someone who just woke up from a coma. You disarm him in 3 moves, moves you didn't even know you knew. You don't stay to ask questions. You grab a lab coat, slip out the side exit, and disappear into the city. This is the moment you realize that whatever your past was, it was dangerous. And whoever erased your identity didn't do it to protect you. They did it to own you. Now you're on the street, a man with no name and no place to go. But you have one thing. When you were changing out of those hospital scrubs, you found a small, heavy object sewn into the lining of your original pants. It's a luggage locker token for a train station. It's a tiny piece of metal, but right now, it's the only link you have to a life you can't remember. You navigate the city by instinct. You don't need a map. Your feet seem to know the way to the central terminal. You find the locker, your heart hammering against your ribs. You insert the token, and the door clicks open. Inside, there isn't a bag of money or a weapon. Instead, there's a small, leather-bound notebook and a stack of passports. You open the first passport. It's your face, but the name says David Thorne, a British citizen. The next one is your face again, but the name is Marcus Vane, from Canada. There are 5 of them in total. Different names, different nationalities, different lives. All of them are you. You realize you weren't just a person, you were a collection of ghosts. You speak multiple languages fluently. You realize this because as you read the various visas, you find yourself thinking in French, then German, then Russian. It's like your brain is a computer that just had its hard drive wiped, but the operating system is still running perfectly. You use the notebook to find an address, a small, nondescript apartment in a part of town that smells like wet asphalt and old grease. You use a hidden key you found in the locker to get inside. The apartment is cold and empty, but it feels familiar. It's a safe house. You find a laptop and start digging, but you aren't alone in this search. You need help, and that's when you meet her. Let's call her Sarah. She's a journalist or maybe a hacker, someone who specializes in finding people who don't want to be found. When you show her your situation, she doesn't believe you at first. She thinks it's a prank, but then she runs your face through a facial recognition program she built herself. The screen goes black. Then a red warning sign pops up. Access denied. She tries again, bypassing the standard firewalls. This time, she finds a fragmented file. It's heavily encrypted, but she manages to pull out a name, the Aegis Group. She looks at you with a face as white as a sheet. She explains that Aegis isn't a company you can find on Google. They are a shadow organization, a private intelligence firm that handles the invisible work for governments and corporations. They don't just hire spies, they create them. And they have a specific program called Project Tabula Rasa. In Latin, that means clean slate. The goal of the program was to take highly skilled individuals and literally erase their personalities, their memories, and their pasts. They wanted to create the perfect tool, a human being with all the skills of an elite soldier, but none of the baggage of a human life. No family to miss, no morals to get in the way, and no identity to trace back if things went wrong. You are a product. You aren't David Thorne or Marcus Vane. You were a prototype for a man who could be anyone and no one at the same time. But something went wrong. Sarah finds a news report from 6 months ago. A private jet crashed over the Atlantic. There were no survivors, but one body was never recovered. That was you. The crash wasn't an accident. It was an attempt to retire you because you had started to remember things. You had started to develop a conscience. As you sit in that dark apartment, the fragments start to come back. Not as clear memories, but as triggers. The smell of a specific brand of cigarette triggers a memory of a rainy night in Prague. The sound of a car backfiring triggers a flash of a desert road and a smoking engine. But the most painful trigger is a photo you find hidden in the back of the notebook. It's a woman and a small child. They look happy. You don't know who they are, but looking at them makes your chest ache with a physical pain. Are they your family? Or were they your targets? This is the moral crisis that starts to eat you alive. If you don't know who you were, how do you know if you were a good man? You look at your hands and wonder how much blood is on them. Every skill you have, the way you can scan a room for exits, the way you know exactly where to strike a man to kill him instantly, suggests that you weren't a hero. You were a monster. And now, the people who made you a monster are closing in. You realize the city is a trap. You see the black SUVs at the end of the block. You see the maintenance workers on the roof across the street who are holding cameras that look a lot like rifles. They are using the city's own surveillance system against you. Every ATM camera, every traffic light, and every smartphone is a pair of eyes for the Aegis Group. They don't need to find you. They just need to wait for you to step into the light. But you have an edge they didn't count on. They taught you how to disappear, and now you're going to use that against them. You and Sarah decide that the only way to end this is to go to the source. You need the original file. Every person in Project Tabula Rasa has a master file, a digital record of who they actually were before their memories were wiped. It's the factory reset data. It's kept in a high-security server farm, a literal fortress underground. Breaking in isn't just a mission, it's a suicide run. But you don't care. You'd rather die knowing your name than live as a shadow. The break-in is a blur of motion. You move through the facility like a ghost. You don't use guns, you use the environment. You disable guards with non-lethal strikes because, despite your training, you've decided you're done killing for people you don't know. You reach the central server room. The air is cold and hums with the sound of 1,000 cooling fans. You find your file. Your real name is Thomas Miller. You were a decorated soldier who was told his family died in an accident. You were broken, grieving, and vulnerable. That's when Aegis stepped in. They didn't just wipe your memory, they lied to you. They told you that you volunteered for this. They told you that by giving up your identity, you were serving a higher purpose. But the truth is much darker. Your family didn't die in an accident. Aegis took them. They used them as leverage to make you cooperate with the initial stages of the program. As you're reading this, the lights in the server room go up. Standing there is the man behind it all, the director. He doesn't look like a villain. He looks like a grandfather in a very expensive suit. He tells you that your real life is gone. Thomas Miller is dead, and he has been dead for a long time. He tells you that the woman and child in the photo are safe, but they will only stay safe if you reboot. He offers you a choice. You can walk back into the machine, let them wipe the last few days of clarity, and go back to being their best asset. Or you can try to fight and lose everything. This is the climax of your journey. You are standing in the heart of the machine that stole your soul. You realize that your identity isn't something that is given to you by a government or a company. It's not a name on a passport or a file in a computer. Your identity is the choices you make right now. You look at the director and you don't see a master. You see a man who is afraid of a ghost. You don't take the deal, but you don't kill him either. Instead, you do something he never expected. You don't just download your file, you upload a virus that Sarah helped you build. It's a digital suicide pill. In an instant, it starts wiping the servers. Not just your file, but every file. The identities of every agent, the records of every crime, and the financial history of the Aegis Group. You aren't just reclaiming your identity, you are destroying the system that turns people into tools. The room descends into chaos as alarms blare and the digital infrastructure of a multi-billion-dollar shadow organization begins to melt away. In the confusion, you make your escape. You don't go back for the director. You don't go back for revenge. You realize that revenge is just another way of staying tied to your past. A few days later, you're standing on a pier, watching the sun come up over the ocean. Sarah is there with you. She tells you that the Aegis Group is being dismantled by the authorities, or what's left of them. The disappeared agents are starting to surface all over the world. Some are lost, some are angry, but all of them are free. She asks you what you're going to do now. You still don't have a legal ID. You still don't have a home. You are still, technically, a man with no identity. But for the first time in your life, you don't feel empty. You realize that being a nobody is actually the ultimate freedom. You can be anyone. You can start over. You can build a life based on who you want to be, not who you were told to be. You look at the photo of the woman and child one last time before letting it slip into the water. You found out through the files that they were relocated to a small village in Europe under a witness protection program years ago. They are happy. They have moved on. And you realize that the greatest gift you can give them is to stay dead. If Thomas Miller stays dead, they stay safe. You turn away from the water and start walking into the city. The streets are crowded with people rushing to work, people with names and jobs and IDs. You blend right in. You're just another face in the crowd, another person with a story that no one else knows. You aren't a ghost anymore. You're a man. And while you might not have a past, for the first time in your life, you have a future. This story isn't just about a spy or a conspiracy. It's a reminder that we are more than the sum of our records. We live in a world that is obsessed with tracking us, labeling us, and defining us by our data.